toongrin.com.
Hello there, you poor unfortunate soul, and welcome to Nero Reviews, yet another fucking review show on the internet. I am Nero, and I'm gonna be your, I don't know, your review monkey? Yes, that sounds like a legit position. Also, I'll be your inevitable punching bag once I somehow manage to cross the line with my opinion about how I somehow insulted you when I'm reviewing a product. That's gonna happen one way or the other. So I'm gonna start this off with a preemptive strike, okay? I'm gonna apologize, alright? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna have to critique a Disney movie. Now, I know for those of you who stumbled across this review, right away you're thinking, how fucking dare you? This company makes more money than you ever will. I hear what you're saying. I get it. You know, Disney is happiest place on earth. It's picture perfect. It can do no wrong. Until you stumble across articles like this that explains that this multi-million-dollar company denied a pair of grieving parents their request to have Winnie the Pooh put on their child's tombstone because it was an infraction of their copyright, because this would have just cost them so much fucking money at the bottom line, right? I mean, sure, they approved of this after the fact. I mean, who wouldn't want to look like the biggest pile of shit imaginable? So, if you're gonna get defensive about me criticizing a Disney product, if you're gonna be one of those fans that are just, oh, it's great, you're wrong, check that shit at the door, because that's gonna fall on deaf ears here really fucking quick. Now then, make no mistake, I rather like Disney. Hell, most of their cartoons and movies are pretty fucking good, actually. I love a good portion of their fucking cartoons. Anyone remember Gargoyles? That was the fucking shit. I love Gargoyles. They really need to release that on a genuine DVD box set at this point, and put that shit in Disney Infinity for that matter. I mean, for me, for a long time, Disney was this grand bringer, this carrier of quality animation, of quality storytelling, that you can take a story and have it, you know, with deeper content, but also allow it for a younger audience, and that was pretty cool. But Frozen... oh, well, okay. You know, here's a fucking analogy for you, right? For Frozen. If Frozen was a meal, then by the time I got through slogging through eating the, you know, through my plate and cleaning it, I was still hungry by the end, like I had nothing to eat whatsoever. I mean, like, yeah, okay, I managed to avoid the whole Frozen fiasco, much like how one would avoid a leper. I was able to get around most of the Frozen crap for a long time. Didn't see the movie, occasionally heard the fucking music because they'd play Let It Go fucking everywhere. But, you know, other than that, I managed to avoid it. You know, I saw the products here and shit. What really fucking killed it for me, like, that really got me to break it down, was I was at Walmart, and as I was just shifting through this stuff, you know, they have all sorts of crap there. Frozen t-shirts, Frozen video games, you know, Frozen fucking waffle iron that looks like Olaf for some discernible reason. But the part that kills me, the part that really just got my nuts in a juicer, was Frozen duct tape. It was at that point I had an epiphany.
A moment of clarity.
This franchise is without a doubt the biggest whore Mickey managed to get into his stable. But this was unbelievably still sort of selling out to me, and that's saying something. I mean, it was at this point, I was like, you know what? I avoided it for this long. And I sat down, I watched it, and that's why I'm here. As a reviewer, I liken myself to that of the friendly coroner, you know, the weirdo that likes to cut things open and stick his hands inside to see what was the cause of death. So, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to perform an autopsy on Frozen. Holy crap, if there was a movie that has no idea what the fuck it want to do with its characters, or theming, or narrative, music, or morals, it's Man of Steel. But Frozen is a close second. I tried pulling a Sherlock Holmes, I tried to deduce this jumbled mess of a snow sludge fucking story, but then you know what? I came across an interview with Idina Menzel, voice of Elsa, so I figured maybe she can give me a nice fresh perspective on what's going on.
Well, Frozen is about several things. It's about sisterhood, and it's about owning your own identity and who you are, and celebrating what makes you extraordinary. And it's a search for what true love really is. It's about family. It's specifically about two young girls.
Okay, so we got these themes on our little chalkboard here, and Well, we can cover sisterhood, owning your own identity, and true love during the character autopsy, so get those out of here. That leaves us with family. And how fitting is it that we get the theme of family with the movie that has the most piece of shit parents for any Disney flick? I mean, look, sure, okay. Cinderella's stepmom was a bitch, and there's no arguing that. I mean, the thing is, at least Lady Tremaine was honest. She didn't hide the fact that she hated Cinderella. But Elsa's parents? I mean, hell, Elsa's and Anna's parents pretend like they love their kids. Plus, they don't have names. And I know that really doesn't matter, I guess, in the grand scheme, but it annoys me. I look at the ending credits. King and Queen. That's it. Just King and Queen. That, to me, shows some level of not giving a shit. I mean, I know they're characters that they're going to toss away later, but it just seems lazy. Back on point, this scene where the dumb sister, that's Anna, can't listen to one damn thing, gets injured by Elsa's ice, and parents take her to some magical trolls because, you know, trolls are a part of this world, I guess. Seriously, we never addressed this. And you know what's annoying is that these trolls only have 2 scenes, and they do the same thing twice. They exist for magical exposition and annoying filler, and that's it. But I guess it's okay because they're magic. So, yeah, the parents get to the trolls, and then the trolls agree to mind wipe Anna so that she'll never remember Elsa having powers.
I recommend we remove all magic, even memories of magic, to be safe. But don't worry, I leave the fun. She will be okay.
Now, some of you might be wondering, how is this plot thread concluded? Well, you're in luck because I have the answer. It's not. The movie makes no attempt to tie this memory erasing into the narrative at all. And it's really fucked up because there were like 3 characters there that could have addressed this. I mean, Kristoff was there as a little kid. He saw the whole thing happen. Then he becomes an adult, meets Elsa and Anna again, never brings it up. Elsa was there as a kid. She becomes an adult. She never brings it up to her own sister that her mind got jacked. Hell, Anna even regains some semblance of memories. I mean, after meeting Olaf, she seems to have some vague recollection, but never brings up the fact that her memories were altered. They just needed a reason for Anna to be surprised later in the movie when Elsa decides to have a bitch fit. So the parents mind wipe one kid, then they lock the other one away in a room, and they drill it into her that she needs to pretend to be normal.
The gloves will help. See? Conceal it.
Don't feel it.
Don't let it show.
Family themes? How about abusive parents? This movie could have done something interesting with addressing the idea of abusive parents.
Conceal it.
Don't feel it.
Don't let it show.
This is completely overlooked, and then, as Disney parents do, they go and drop dead. So yeah, kill them off before any thoughtful moment can be made. And that's weird, is how this movie tries to play off the idea that the king and queen give a shit about Elsa. I mean, you have like these moments that like show their faces and it's like really sincere looking, like they're really, you know, worried about their kid. But if they gave a shit about Elsa, why didn't they have her trained like the trolls said they should?
Your power will only grow. There is beauty in it, but also great danger.
You know what's great about this is that literally after talking to the troll, the first response the parents have is to lock Elsa in a bedroom. It's like the frickin' movie or the writers or something, someone had a brain fart and forgot what the hell was just established. Another bit of bullcrap brought up is frickin' Elsa's powers. They simply make no sense. So at age 8, she can control her powers just fine. She makes snowmen, she freezes the floor all Tom and Jerry style, everything's great. Then the dullard takes a shot to the head, and all of a sudden Elsa's powers do whatever the fuck the plot needs them to. Well, Elsa's powers need to be out of control. Okay, so her powers will just freeze things at random. Well, Elsa's powers now need to be turned off. Well, have her wear gloves that may or may not be helping, given she can still freeze shit even with them still on her hands, even though they're supposed to help her conceal her powers. Or create some kind of mental emotional block because the movie really doesn't explain it clearly. Well, Elsa needs a new dress because this is her coming out of the closet moment. So she makes a new dress to look even prettier. Well, the executive producer wants to tie in a toy deal. Okay, so she can create sentient life forms in the form of a whimsical, talking, singing, dancing snowman voiced by Josh Gad. So is that enough fucking abilities that these powers can do at random?
We're in the
Now I know someone will argue Elsa's powers are somehow tied to her emotional state, and they kind of are, but they just do whatever the story really needs them to. I mean, if her powers calm down when Elsa calms down, right? Then why is Arendelle still under the effects of a frozen storm after Elsa farts off to her snow castle? Now, bear with me on this. We see that Elsa's powers are affected by her emotional state. So, the movie establishes this. So, it should stand to reason that when she's happy or calm, the storm should stop, right? I mean, she has to be happy. She sung a whole stupid song about how she let it all go. So the storm should end, right? Nope, because the movie needs drama. And some might argue it's symbolic, but Elsa's powers being an extension of her emotional state are played so loose with. Also, this is a Disney movie, and this shit is made for little kids. The thing is, you need to understand what audience you're aiming for. And I'm not saying, it's not there for the adults. I'm not saying it's a kids movie, like it's stupid. I'm all for the idea of intelligent content in a kids movie. And I honestly think the idea of what they could have done, tying it into her emotional state, could have been interesting. That'd be fine. You could do intelligent content in a kids movie. Take Inside Out, a Disney and Pixar movie, covered stuff like depression, did a really good job with it. But Frozen? This has got to be a joke. Hell, this movie doesn't even deal with consequences like other Disney movies. In Wreck-It Ralph, when Ralph leaves his game, he not only risks his game shutting down, but his game hopping causes a cybug outbreak that could infect the whole of the arcade and destroy countless worlds. In Hercules, when Herc isn't careful with his strength, he causes massive property damage, possibly injuring people, and is then ostracized as a freak and an outcast. When Elsa freezes the whole damn kingdom, nearly causing people to die of hypothermia and starvation, everyone welcomes her back with open fucking arms, and not one person is like,
"Hey, this snowskeg nearly killed us!
Torture!
Now, I'm not just ragging on Elsa, trust me, Anna isn't exactly winning any awards for her actions. Numerous times throughout the story, her dumbass decisions put her and everyone else in danger. Hell, the whole movie kicks off only because she thinks running on unstable ice pillars is a good idea, even though Elsa told her to slow down. In fact, you could sum up all of Anna's antics with a counting gag. So, point is, later on, okay? So, that's another point about Anna. Anna pulls a Simba and straight up ditches her kingdom and leaves it to Hans, much like how Simba left it to Scar. Now, the only difference here is that Scar was transparently evil, while Hans is evil due to plot contrivance. So, Anna irresponsibly goes off on her own to find Elsa, and that's commendable. She loves her big sister, and she wants to make sure she's safe. I could commend that. I can respect that. That's love right there. But she goes out in a fucking dress. With zero supplies. And, no assistance, no garrison, or anything to accommodate her on this trip. If Kristoff didn't show up, what was Anna gonna do? Was she just gonna travel the mountains aimlessly and hope she finds Elsa before freezing to death? Look, the point is, Anna really deals with no consequence. None of the characters really do. The movie sets no consequences for the actions chosen. I know it's a fairy tale, but this is just flat out bullshit. I wonder if anyone's even watching by this point. Some praises in order. I mean, not just for you, but also for the movie. See, for Frozen, it really isn't all negative. I mean, yeah, okay, sure. I find the story for Frozen to be non-existent, and pretty much, yeah, it's kind of crap. but I can at least give it praise in one of the major regards, and that's its casting. So, luckily, yes, I can has good casting. See, with Frozen, while it lacked a cohesive plot that was, worth a squirrel's fart, the fact is, it still has good casting decisions. Everyone does a solid job. No one turns in a bad performance. The main cast is good, and even the side cast is good. And, it's been my experience with movies from, watching a lot of them, that a movie can have a brilliant performance, have really good actors performing really good to the best of their abilities with the material they have, but at the end of the day, they're otherwise neck deep in shit when it comes to a story. Poor Mark Strong. He keeps trying to be the silver lining in clouds of crap. Dude did the same thing in John Carter, which was another Disney masterpiece of shit. Now, my praise for the cast aside, as they all deliver top-notch performances, what do I think of the characters? Casting is nice and all, but the characters are the ones who are supposed to, help us engage into the story itself. They are the cast members. So, what do I think? Well, my thoughts can be summed up with a chibi Gilbert Gottfried.
What the fuck is this?
So let's start with one of the characters that aggravates me the most, Hans. Not only is Hans forgettable for a Disney villain, which in and of itself is disappointing really, given Disney's ability to make iconic villains, but as a key character to the story, Hans really doesn't contribute anything. Now make no mistake that Frozen does make Hans plenty evil, in like the last 10 minutes of the movie. Hans actually starts off alright. He's introduced as Anna's romantic interest, and I thought they were going to be clever this time around, that they were going to subvert that whole Disney trope of love at first sight. I mean, from the evidence in the context of the film, I thought that was the direction that the writers were actually going to go in.
Hang on, you mean to tell me you got engaged to someone you just met that day?
Yes, pay attention.
See, I was thinking that by the end, Anna would tell Hans that they can't be together, that they should just get to know one another or just be friends, and there'd be this whole mutual respect angle. Nope! In actuality, I was completely wrong, which is no surprise being me. See, Anna is still an idiot by the end. By the third act of the movie, she is still holding on to that love at first sight gag, and then Hans spontaneously decides to be the villain for the picture.
If only there was someone out there who loved you.
Even in that context, Hans's face heel turn in the plot doesn't even make any sense. You'll see, earlier it's established after he meets Anna, he plays the whole lovesick puppy angle. Hans, is looking at her, he falls off the dock into the water, and he gives the, oh shucks, look. That look of, utter dumbfoundery with love. Yet, by the end of the movie, that look makes no sense, because at one point, Hans just flat out reveals, out of nowhere, his entire grand scheme of why he even came to Arendelle.
You were so desperate for love, you were willing to marry me just like that. I figured after we'd married, I'd have to stage a little accident for Elsa.
Hans! No! Stop!
But then she doomed herself, and you were dumb enough to go after her.
Please.
Hallelujah! 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 Hallelujah!
So if he had this plan, why the love-struck look? Was he thinking, oh shucks, I can't wait to slit her throat when she's asleep? Look, the point to a villain who has a hidden agenda in a narrative is to have them act differently around people so as not to look suspicious. We, the audience, are meant to know their true intentions. That's what makes it dramatic, is that we know what they're planning. So Hans looking love-struck at his victim-to-be makes little sense. Also, for the bad guy of the picture, Hans seems to have the more noble of intent than the majority of the cast. I mean, Elsa and Anna are both completely irresponsible. Kristoff originally signed on to help Anna only because she basically bribed him, and Olaf just sort of stumbled into the set, basically. Hans, on the other hand, was giving out food to the hungry, he was giving out blankets to the cold, he was taking care of the kingdom itself since, Elsa froze it, and then Anna just ended up running off, taking no responsibility as the technical legal guardian of the kingdom. I mean, think about it. When Anna's horse returns without her, Hans is the one who rallies a garrison to go and look for them. And when they get to Elsa's castle, not exactly sure how he finds Elsa's castle, but he does, Hans is the one who tells his men not to attack and not to hurt Elsa. And then when they confront Elsa, it's Hans who says Elsa is not a monster. Hell, Hans is even the one who asks Elsa, sincerely mind you, to turn off the winner, and Elsa's the one who says,
"Don't you see? I can't."
So yeah, when you really come down to it, Hans acted actually almost like a knight when it comes down to it, but then as soon as Anna makes it back to her true love...
Oh, Anna. If only there was someone out there who loved you.
So we had a movie where the entire time, Hans, this stranger, takes more responsibility for this kingdom than both members of the royal family, and then... bad guy. Now I'm sure someone will comment that it was Hans's plan to trick us. He was pretending to be good so he can get the crown. Please. That seems like a load of bull spunk. Hans' entire character just reeks of a rewrite dump. The closest hint of Hans being evil comes at the Snow Castle, where he aims a crossbow to hit a chandelier instead of hitting Elsa. That's halfway through the movie, and really, you could argue Hans was just trying to find a way to knock Elsa out without killing her because she was in full kill crazy mode and not listening to reason by this point. I think this twist is only here to just shock the audience. You know, like those shitty Shyamalan movies where they just sort of paperclip the twist on at the last minute. And for Frozen, that's not far off. I have found articles discussing Frozen's production, which states that Elsa was going to be the complete antagonist, and that the script was changed once Let It Go was written. Now don't get me wrong, I am all for a twist. Twists are great, but this twist is freaking crap. The point to a good twist is that if you look back, you can pick up subtle hints of what's going to be the inevitable lead-up. Take, for example, the scene in Empire Strikes Back, another Disney classic as of 2012. In that movie, Lord Vader speaks with the Emperor, who tells Vader that the rebel who destroyed the Death Star is the son of Anakin Skywalker, and that this rebel must be destroyed. But it's Lord Vader who says he can be turned to an ally.
The son of Skywalker must not become a Jedi.
If he could be turned, he would become a powerful ally.
So now you think about it, why does Vader really care? Vader's killed hundreds of Jedi. And younglings, and sand people, and you know what? Dude, Lord Vader is a killing machine. Hell, in A New Hope, he flat out nuked the planet. Nuked it, gone. Millions of lives dead. So why does Vader care about this one rebel? Well, because that twist is one of the most famous moments in cinema.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
The hints are subtle, and looking back, it makes you sort of excited for what it's building up towards. But Hans' turn to the dark side is forced so that we have an antagonist that is more dislikable than Elsa. I mean, think about it. Elsa may have been intended to be the villain and then was rewritten to be sympathetic and less an antagonist, but Elsa nearly kills all of Arendelle with her storm. And sure, you can argue that those are all a bunch of faceless people. As viewers, we really don't care about the peasants that die because we don't know them. Well, save for Rapunzel and Flynn showing up, but other than them, we really don't care about the peasants. But no matter how you look at it, Elsa is responsible for this deadly storm. She almost kills Anna with her ice beams, and she makes a snow Hulk that tries to kill people instead of just scaring them off. If she wasn't evil, wouldn't it just booga booga and scare them away? Now, sure, okay, the ice beam, both times, was an accident. And maybe the storm was an accident too? The movie's kind of unclear about that. But the Snow Hulk is tossing trees at people. At that point, like, all bets are off. Hell, you know what? The storm actually gets so bad that Arendelle's civilians have to take refuge in the castle for food and warmth. Really, when you get down to it, the movie just wanted to pass the baddie buck to Hans because they just realized, oh shit, what the fuck did we do with Elsa? And then Hans does all the good shit. He feeds the fucking hungry, he warms the cold, he took care of the kingdom, while the two who were supposed to be in charge do nothing. I'm not sure why the movie thought I'd forget that. Was I really meant to emphasize more with this fucking twit? So Elsa nearly kills countless people, but somehow Hans is the bad guy just because he singles out the two idiots. And honestly, this twist feels like it's slapped on. Hans is just a disappointment as a Disney villain. Look, not every villain can be a cosmic threat like King Candy or as charismatic as Hades, but sweet Jesus. One of the best parts of any Disney movie, in my opinion, is the villain. Oftentimes, I find the villain to have the best song, and to have the most memorable personality, and the best scenes. Yet, the most memorable villain song here is, well, Elsa's. Even worse, Hans is still an idiot as much as the rest of the cast is. So he captures Elsa, and he kept her alive. See, I thought the reason for this was because he thought that if she had died, then the storm wouldn't stop, like he needed her. So he kept her alive just so she could turn off the storm.
Don't you see? I can't.
Then a few minutes later, Hans decides he's gonna just flat out decapitate her? Did he at some point just figure, let God sort it out? And then we get to the end of the movie and Hans is defeated, and Anna punches him in the face and everyone cheers? Why? No one knew Hans was really a bad guy. The kingdom saw Hans as a leader who gave a crap while Elsa and Anna were playing grab ass. I mean, could they even see him attempt to kill Elsa during the middle of the snowstorm? I'm guessing this scene was only shoved in here as an attempt at girl power. See, Hans could have had a character that could have started off as the generic Prince Charming archetype, but become a respectable male figure who respected Anna and Elsa for who they are. Or he could have been the one that just traveled with Anna to find Elsa, and they could have just grown over the course of the film together. Instead, we got the equivalency of Disney offering us a delicious glass of villainy, but only to have it watered down, leaving a yucky aftertaste that left me unsatisfied. So thanks for taking a piss in my Kool-Aid there, guys. Okay, so Hans may have been poorly managed, but Kristoff, or better known by his Nordic translated name, the Cardboard Human, or Man-Ape, does nothing. Oh, at first he seems like he has a purpose in the movie, sure, until you start to look at all the clues. I have no idea who Kristoff is, and neither does the movie for that matter. Aside from being bland as wheat thins, Kristoff has nothing really explained about him. Who were the Ice Cutters at the beginning? Was that his family? Never explained. Kristoff is abducted by a troll mama. Does anyone ever come looking for this missing kid? I guess not, because the troll mama raised him herself. Kristoff was even there when Kid Elsa and Kid Anna have the whole mind wipe scene, and he never addresses that he saw the two before, even though as kids, they look like mini versions of themselves. Now, I'm sure some may argue that Kristoff does have a point, that he's on his guide to helping to find Elsa, but when you really look at it, Kristoff really doesn't guide all that much. I mean, they sort of just bumble around the woods, and then, Olaf shows up. The snow midget then pretty much takes the role as guide. I mean, they follow him around, and then it's Olaf who even finds the snow bridge to Elsa's castle, not Kristoff. He really doesn't lead jack shit. See, what I thought was going to happen was Kristoff was there to be a subversion to the Disney trope. Seeing as Hans failed to provide that, Kristoff even addresses the whole falling in love with the first guy you meet is stupid.
You mean to tell me you got engaged to someone you just met that day?
Yes, pay attention.
Yet we get to the third act. Anna is dying from Elsa's curse, and who's the first that says we should go back to Hans?
Anna, we've got to get you back to Hans.
What a stupid fucking idea this is!
What the fuck happened in the 2 days that these two were together that somehow caused Kristoff to flip-flop so quickly? Look, I get that Anna is dying, so they're in dire need to have some kind of way to cure her, but the movie flat out addressed how Hans isn't her true love due to the absurdity of knowing him for a day.
You mean to tell me you got engaged to someone you just met that day?
Yes, pay attention.
Thanks a lot, asshole!
And really, the more I think about it, Olaf could have just been the one to bring Anna back with the reindeer anyways. He guided her there. I mean, you could have just had a snowman wandering around with the reindeer. It would have been just as Disney and cutesy as any other shit. I mean, or hell, Olaf could have gone to Elsa and begged her for help to save her sister. You know, include Elsa in the story instead of her sitting in her ice castle doing jack shit. So, Kristoff's character could have been folded into Olaf if anything, but no, the movie wraps up and then Anna and Kristoff are in love? Why? Does Anna need an award for doing nothing? The movie needs to give Anna a walk-and talking award so the pretty girls who watch this tripe can believe that they will magically run into the man of their dreams. I thought the whole point was you don't fall in love at first sight. She knew this guy for 2 fucking days and now she's in love with him at first sight? It's like the movie's saying, well, Anna, yeah, made many bad decisions, nearly got your dumbass killed, practically caused your kingdom to ruin. Hell, this is all actually kinda your fault, and you didn't listen to Elsa, which got you hit in the head with the ice beam in the first place, which then caused her parents to lock her away, basically crippling and emotionally abusing your older sister. And then you yanked away her glove that set Elsa off to flip her shit, which ruined everything. Yeah, get a piece of penis for your trouble. Kristoff doesn't even have any chemistry with Anna. In fact, he has more chemistry with Sven, his pet reindeer, which the movie creepily makes a reference to in the Stupid Troll song.
So he's a bit of a fixer-upper, so he's got a few flaws.
Like his peculiar reindeer.
This thing with the reindeer that's a little outside of nature's
This is not about me.
So is that the whole groundbreaking achievement critics are really praising the movie for? It's not the sisterly love or the bonding or the family or all that crap, but it's how Kristoff is into hardcore bestiality. If Kristoff wants to, you know, get his knob gobbled by his reindeer, that's, you know what, that's fine. At least that breaks the Disney formula. It's disturbing as shit, but it's definitely something different. Instead, Kristoff is just this generic love reward for the pretty girl who's gone through the hardships. Not like we haven't seen that before. Though now I'm just curious. Does Anna and Kristoff include Sven in their reindeer games? I remember seeing the trailers for Frozen and just dreading Olaf. How could I not? The mere design bellows to the mountaintops that he is meant to be the comic relief character archetype. Looking at Olaf was like looking into the darkness only to see Jar Jar Binks staring back at you. Misa, eat your soul! And that's what I thought Olaf was going to be. The Disney Jar Jar Binks. Oh, I mean, you know, besides the actual Disney Jar Jar Binks. But to me, Olaf is the closest to a fascinating character I found out of the whole movie. It's a shame that the writers didn't do more with him. Some fans have even come up with great theories concerning Olaf. Specifically, they have theorized a deeper, symbolic connection between him, Elsa, and Anna. See, in the first act, when Elsa and Anna are playing together, they build a snowman, name him, and even grant him his own catchphrase.
Hi, I'm Olaf, and I like warm hugs.
Hi, everyone. I'm Olaf, and I like warm hugs.
Olaf symbolically is a figure of their childhood innocence and their sisterly love, you know? Their goofiness, their creativity, and how pure and simple it all was when they were younger. Later, after Elsa, flips her shit, amongst all the crap she builds Olaf again, and even brought him to life. No idea how, but she did. She brought a snowman to life. And both sisters then start to remember him, and when they actually see him, they do refer to him as Olaf by name.
Olaf?
I dig what the fans came up with. The whole symbolic connection between Elsa and Anna is actually pretty cool. Olaf is the only one real connection they have as sisters. That love of chocolate thing at the coronation comes the fuck out of nowhere.
Chocolate.
You fucking people.
It's like in the midst of the movie, the writers felt like they needed to backtrack to say, oh, see, look, the two of them do have similarities. I mean, other than being total fuck-ups. See, that's the thing, though. With Olaf, there was this spark of potential. The sisters created him together. In essence, they gave him life. Through their love, their imagination. And really, when you get down to it, Olaf was sort of their bridge. The movie, however, really doesn't do shit with this concept. You could have taken the idea of Olaf of representing something, even maybe taken it a step further. In Frozen, for some bullshit reason that's never explained other than, it's magic. Elsa creates two life forms from snow, Olaf and Marshmallow. Oh, and in Frozen Fever, Elsa just sneezes, and that somehow creates these frosted Furby-looking motherfuckers.
people.
Now, some fans have actually made that brilliant theory that these two snow abominations are representations of Elsa's personality. Olaf is the kind demeanor, the truer part of Elsa, the part that's deep, hidden inside of her, whereas Marshmallow is the aggressive repression that Elsa's built up thanks to, having shit parents. See, now that's an interesting theory. The movie does jack shit with it, but it did make Olaf more interesting than just being comic relief, so, it was a nice theory. Don't get me wrong. He is good as comic relief. Very funny, lovable, with his compassion and kind-hearted nature and personality. That's fine. Though my point is that the fans have given Olaf more depth and thought into making him a more meaningful character, rather than the writers who actually just wanted to have this adorable snowman, probably with no other reason or means other than to fill the Disney checklist. I imagine the whole thing actually went like... Let's see. Adorable? Check. Implausible species? Check. Comedian voice actor? Check. Toy deal? Hooray! The brilliance of the corporate puppet masters for cracking the financial Disney trope formula. Down to the big two, the leads. The pair that, once my opinion has been spoken, a call will go out to every flaming butt critter to come out of the woodworks to attack me with their white-hot phosphorus hatred. And I don't care. Elsa and Anna are some of the worst Disney protagonists I've seen in a while. I won't preach on for too long because I honestly think I covered the majority of my gripes with them in the plot breakdown, so I'm gonna just smush Elsa and Anna under the same section because both characters suffer roughly from the same issues. Now, I've mentioned the lack of consequences, I've mentioned the poor judgment. Hell, the movie doesn't even really explain where Elsa's powers come from.
Born with the powers or cursed?
Born.
That doesn't explain anything! Elsa's a cryokinetic, but her family's completely normal. Why the fuck is she a cryokinetic? Why does she have ice powers? Where did they come from? Did her mom fuck a frost giant? Was it Loki? Did she pork Loki? It's like Elsa is this Disney wet dream. She's pretty, she's powerful, so then everyone's just under the assumption she's this well-rounded character.
Wow, this is garbage.
When it comes to these two, they're just weak sauce, and it all really ties to the plot. My friend Duke came up with this brilliant idea as a better narrative that would center around the sisters, and honestly, I really fell in love with this idea, so here it is.
The movie can keep the whole Elsa's ice beam cursed to the head. That's fine. But what if they tied the effects of the mind erasing into the plot itself, instead of feeling like an afterthought? What if, instead, the trolls couldn't remove the effects of Elsa's ice beam, but rather mask it? Hence why Anna can't remember Elsa's powers, because they just erased her memory and that's it. They say to the parents, listen, if she remembers, this is going to spread throughout her mind. And, by tying that into the plot, making it a ticking time bomb, there's an urgency, but not an urgency in which Anna should find Elsa. It's an urgency that Anna should stop. And that kind of adds conflict to this kind of scenario. Because, you want her to have her sister back. They're sisters, they shouldn't be separated. But having this, hiccup in the road can really kind of push this tension where it's like, should she get her back? Should she let her live? Because the only other stake in this movie is the ice storm. But the ice storm never really amounts to Jack and shit. And Jack left fucking town. Because that ice storm is kind of weak. And it's just like mildly cold. Like it's like, here's your fucking blankets. Okay. God, that's a doozy. You could have used this ice remembering plot thing to kind of add into the third act where Elsa finally stops running and realizes that the only person to really kind of blame here, the only person that's pushing Anna away is herself, and they can finally reconcile, and you can see the ice shard kind of slowly melt away, and then do the whole Frozen Hearts by emotions, love is all-powerful, gobbledygook, Disney crescendo crap that they always do. But that's just my insane opinion.
Honestly, I think those 5 minutes Duke came up with a better story that ties the gaping hole directly to the narrative, but also keeps the movie villain-free, relying on the emotions of the characters for the drama. The way Frozen tells the story has Elsa and Anna with nothing to grapple with. Yeah, they're two sisters, but the movie doesn't show enough for me to care about their connection. Elsa is too distant without any real cause, and given the sporadic nature of her magic and the writer's inability to set any rules on how her powers work, I never really felt that she would hurt Anna. Hell, both times when Anna did get hurt by Elsa's ice, it was Anna's fault!
Slow down! I can change
And then with Anna, her character flaw is her lack of stopping and listening. She's all gung-ho and never changes. Anna's lack of growth from beginning with a lack of attentiveness and not thinking before leaping made her come off less free-spirited and energetic, which I know is what the writers were trying to go for, and it made her more annoying. Since she clearly has no consequences for her action. Not really. I mean, even with the ice beam to the head, we all know they didn't have the chops for her to be killed off or frozen to death at the end. There was no inherent drama for that in the narrative. Neither Elsa nor Anna changed throughout the movie. Anna starts the movie brash and nothing changes by the end. She's still gung-ho and cocksure about everything. She doesn't really grow to be responsible. Elsa, while starting scared, doesn't grow to have courage. She sung Let It Go and then hides in a castle. How the fuck is that accepting yourself? That's not character development. The movie then just decides, movie's over, everything I'm good. Oh, and because love. There was no scene where we took a step back and had the characters rethink their situation or try to change or actively do something. Hell, Hans and Anna both ask Elsa to turn off the winter. Her response both times?
If you would just stop the winter, bring back summer, please.
Don't you see? I can't.
You kind of set off an eternal winter everywhere.
Everywhere.
Well, it's okay, you can just unfreeze it.
No, I can't.
Yes, you can! Just do it!
You know, the thing is, Elsa and Anna are, ironically, too Disney for their own good. They have flaws, yes, but they're Disney-fied. They aren't treated as flaws. Not really. They're not really handled properly. They're overlooked, making Elsa and Anna lack the dimension I've grown to really enjoy with Disney characters. Simply put, when it comes to the characters of Frozen, the ball was dropped in a big way. It's a mess from indecisive character tropes, to characters not doing shit, to characters who make nothing but bad decisions, and let's not forget Cardboard McGurk with his reindeer fetish here who really brings nothing to the proceedings of the story. I mean, at least Olaf fulfilled his function of comic relief. At least he was funny and he was good for a laugh. He fulfilled his fucking purpose. Oh, and Oaken was pretty fucking awesome.
Woohoo! Big summer blowout.
Alright, so this is where I look at all the technical junk, stuff like audio and visual, because while the story and characters are important, make no mistake, if your movie looks and sounds like crap, no one will want to sit and watch it.
I am directly below the enemy scrotum.
So let's start with the audio of Frozen, because you see, music is actually a very big part of a movie. In essence, music can easily make or break a scene if it doesn't fit. See, this is even more important when it comes to Disney movies. I mean, it's no surprise that music is a big part of Frozen. In fact, it's pretty much the main reason why Frozen was rewritten for the umpteenth time, so the writers can shove in Let It Go, much in the same way a tormentor would shove bamboo shoots under your fingernails when trapped in a POW camp. That's what the music of Frozen is. It's like bamboo shoots, and my life is the POW camp. Now then, when it comes to talking about music, I don't mean the friggin' background music. That's actually pretty good. The background music in Frozen is actually very calm, very serene. It's almost meditative in how it just plays out in the background. No, when I mean music, I'm talking about the loud, shitty musical numbers. Musicals are pretty commonplace for Disney. Hell, the majority of Disney movies are musicals. It's just the nature of the beast, it's how they're made. So when it comes to making a Disney movie, there has always been a natural tie-in of audio and visual with characters singing. It's part of what makes a Disney movie, well, yeah, a Disney movie. Kind of is just the nature of things. It's why so many other blatantly shitty fucking knockoffs try to, and fail, to replicate it, and has become a real cancer on the animated kids film industry, actually.
In the dark of the night I was tossing and turning, and the nightmare I had was as bad as can be.
Hell, Anastasia here wanted to be a Disney musical so bad that they actually went and got Disney's main man, Jim Cummings, to sing the frickin' song, for God's sakes. So yeah, Disney and music go hand in hand, like bread and butter. They use music as a means to exchange dialogue and info without having the characters talk down or take an exposition dump, and all while having them do it to a catchy beat. It's pretty awesome, and it makes the characters and movies more iconic. Take, for example, Disney's Aladdin. Genie sings A Friend Like Me, and while it's primarily there to display all the full extent of what Genie can do as far as his magic goes, it also shows you who he is. From the song, we can gather that Genie is compassionate, comical, and solely interested in watching out for Al and giving him everything he desires. Well, in Frozen, you get stupid shit like Fixer Upper, which is hands down the worst song of the whole movie.
So she's a bit of a fixer-upper.
That's a minor thing. Her quote engagement is a flex arrangement.
And by the way, I don't see no ring.
This song just pads out the runtime and undercuts the tension of Anna dying from an ice bolt. Why the fuck did anyone think this was a good idea to have a time bomb situation with Anna, only to have a peppy musical interlude afterwards, is baffling. It's like the movie wanted an excuse to tie the trolls back in because someone in the writer's room realized, oh shit, we put them in the beginning. Well, they don't really appear at all through the fucking narrative. What do? Shove them in at the end. That way it sort of bookends itself. It's like poetry, it rhymes. So now we got these morons coming in and singing their crappy song about their child that they abducted, who clearly must have Stockholm Syndrome considering he never questions anything, all while wanting to fuck his pet reindeer, while this dumb jackass is dying, and never once brings up to the mention, oh, by the ways, I am dying. Can we cut this crap out? I needs the helps. Look, Disney songs should, and usually, are used to progress the story or make characterization. Take, for example, Disney's Hercules, okay? In Hercules, we have a song where Herc sings Go the Distance. The song is used to displace time, and it emphasizes Herc's loneliness, that he's an outsider, that he's different, and that he'll go through great lengths and travel epic journeys, all to find out who he is. It's not like Fixer Upper, who took 3 minutes and 2 seconds of your life away, making you write a fucking review of a fucking Disney movie that's beloved by everyone, and somehow you look like the asshole for fucking disliking it, and everyone thinks you're fucking psychotic.
Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow.
Now, to be fair, I think all the songs in Frozen are a bunch of nonsensical pop crap that will quickly be forgotten. Much like this review will probably be quickly forgotten once people are done watching it. God, that is fucking sad. Anyways, let's talk about the big song. Yeah, okay. Let's discuss. You and I sitting here together. Let's go over Let It Go. I will start with some praise, okay? First off, it is very well performed. No, seriously, I'm not being ironic here. Idina Menzel doesn't miss a beat with her unparalleled control of her voice. She does a fucking epic job singing this freaking song. That said, this song sucks. First off, it's unbelievably overhyped.
Here I stand in the light of day. Let the force lead on. Vader is a better name anyway.
The filmmakers glorified the shit out of this song as the standout moment of the whole movie. Again, this song was the reason for another rewrite on a script that was already a clusterfuck. Also, was I really the only one to see this whole scene as a way for some Disney animators to jerk themselves off for their animation skills? Hell, there's even a video that has them talking about how proud they are of the snow effects, how they went into such great detail and made unparalleled efforts to make the snow look good. And that's what this scene feels like, is a way to show off the snow effects. They might as well just had a little animator pop up and go, oh yes, this is it, let it go! Also, and I am sure I'm the only person who's come to this bizarre-ass conclusion, but Let It Go comes off as the de facto villain song of the whole movie. My reasoning behind it is that, like many Disney villain songs, Let It Go is made to show off the abilities of the bad guy and give a hint to their overall villainous intent. Let's take, for example, The Princess and the Frog. In the movie, Dr. Facilier, the de facto villain of the picture, sings the song Friends on the Other Side. The song shows off his amazing voodoo skills, all while peppering his lyrics with what he's going to do to the main character.
Now y'all gotta get hitched, but hitching ties you down. You just want to be free, hop from place to place. But freedom takes green. It's the green, it's the green, it's the green you need. And when I looked into your future, it's the green that I see.
And Elsa's song has both those qualities. Her song does show off her powers with all the amazing ice magic crap she can do. Then there's a bit of malevolent undertone to it. I mean, in the final bit of her song, Elsa's lyrics seem a bit ominous.
Let it go, let it go. That perfect girl is gone. Here I stand in the light of day. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway.
Now this just might be me, but that lyric kind of makes Elsa seem like she knew about the storm, but she didn't really care that it affected people, aka fucking killed them. It's as if Elsa is singing about how she doesn't need to be responsible for what she did. Now, this may very well just be maybe a carryover from the fact that she was meant to be the original villain for the movie, and Frozen, in a lot of ways, does harken back to the more old-school style of Disney movie. Older Disney movies like Cinderella and Snow White just had musical interludes, and it didn't really build the plot of their stories or bring up characterization. They were just sort of there. And again, with this movie, Frozen was in development for years, so this is arguably just part of that continuing tradition. But traditional isn't always the best method, and while Frozen tries and fails to let that traditional music label stand, the songs feel like a substitute for narrative-driven material. The movie can have songs, that's fine. I don't mind a Disney movie being a musical. I fucking love Princess and the Frog, quite honestly. Hell, I love Hercules, and that's gospel music, and what the fuck does that have to do with Greek mythology? But in my opinion, you need to space this stuff the fuck out. Sweet Christmas, within the first 20 minutes, there are 4 songs crammed together, and the part that kills me is that in between the song To Build a Snowman and For the First Time in Forever, there is only a breathing window of 1 minute and 54 seconds. Yeah, I checked because I was watching this and I just felt utterly bombarded by music. So, I just got through one song, and instead of moving forward now with the narrative, building the characters, doing stuff that, you know, a movie does do, the movie decides that it needs another fucking song. Can't I have a breather? Can I just please have some narrative to it? That's what I want to see, is a story. If I want just sing-alongs, I'll buy like a fucking karaoke tape, which this fucking movie also produced. I feel like I'm playing a game of dodgeball, and these songs are just coming in from every which way possible, until the animated adventure portion of the movie begins, and then Frozen just throws a song in like a buffer. Hell, a moment that pisses me off is that Elsa and Anna finally meet up, okay? Elsa ran away from home earlier after freezing over the kingdom, so her and Anna are finally meeting up. The two are reunited, so now they gotta talk to one another, and then...
Please don't shut me out again. Please don't slam the door. You don't have to keep your distance anymore.
Another fucking song! It's like every time there's a moment for narrative or character development, a fucking song is thrown in. Every fucking time. My guess is that with the constant rewrites for Frozen, some bean counter came along, realized that they were spending way too much fucking time and money on this goddamn project because it's been in development for fucking years. They instead cut a corner, opt out for music instead of story, shove that crap in a can, out the door, to a theater, as quickly as possible. The music just exemplifies that the damn narrative is lazy, and it makes the movie more of a chore to sit through, cause instead of natural songs to carry the ebb and flow of everything, it feels like an invasion, that a sudden halt is made, that everything needs to stop so that the fluff that is tooth-grindingly annoying can begin all over again. There's my views on the music. The music sucked all around for the most part, except for the background music. There, I'm done. Let's just move on to the fucking visuals already. Now I'm sure I can guess what everyone is thinking. Nero, surely you can't hate the visuals of Frozen. Look, for the most part, Frozen is a visual marvel. Also, to anyone who says, it looks good and that's all that really matters, hear me out. Shut the fuck up. Saying it looks good and that looking good is enough is really a moronic view for movies. It's like when people tell me I should like Jurassic World because of the action scenes, but the special effects look like shit, so I can't get pulled into it because it looks so fucking fake. And the reverse applies here. The movie can look good, but if the characters or story doesn't anchor me in, then I get bored. And then when I'm bored, I start to notice weird things like Elsa's hair going through her armpit, or how like a bunch of characters share the same faces. If I want to have high visual quality, that's fine, I'd like that, but that's not all a movie needs. If at all, movies need to be both visually appealing and have a really good story. That's what makes it a fucking movie. Otherwise, it'd just be a fucking picture! So yeah, for the most part, Frozen does look good. The animation flubs aside because, hell, I imagine putting in the mind-numbing hours it would take to construct the spectacle of a movie. You're likable to have some screw-ups here and there. That's sort of the inevitability. It just kind of happens. But a part of my criticism is really coming from the laziness of the artistic design that this movie ended up taking. Elsa and Anna and their mom all share the same face. Hell, you know what? I'm pretty sure that's the same face that Rapunzel had too in Tangled. It's like the Disney animators open their animation software, click generic female head A, and then do as minor changes as possible, and then the design's approved. Couldn't there be some difference, like one of them having some of their father's traits, or hell, someone having fucking blonde hair so Elsa's hair makes sense? Another thing that annoys me are just how all the trolls are virtually identical in design. Now, I know someone is writing in the comments and saying, but Nero, you cheeky dick, did you expect them to make every troll look unique? Yes! You can't tell me that they couldn't do that! In a good Disney movie like Treasure Planet, look at Long John Silver's crew! It's composed of unique alien designs and each one stands out. You got the head with arms, the head with tentacle hair, the body with a face in it, this big looking freak, this little shit with the eyeballs, this bug looking abomination, this bizarro frickin' Silent Hill compilation of butthole creature. Hell, Long John himself is like part man, bear, steampunk, and is like a slew of cybernetics all blended into one character design. So don't go telling me we can't make some trolls tall, some of them fat, some of them skinny, or maybe even some of them made to look like different kinds of rock. Duplicating troll body A repeatedly in an animation software makes you a lazy schmuck. And the movie shows that with its character designs. Hell, I'm also pretty sure some of the background characters are duplicates, but when you've been looking at this movie for as long as I have, your eyes just start screwing with you, so you might be seeing things that aren't really there. Really, while Frozen fails in the substance department, there's really barely any flash to it either. Nothing about this is made to make me say, whoa, that's a Disney picture. This is what that studio does. They do things that just blow your frickin' mind. Really, watching this movie was more of, yeah, this is typical Disney fanfare. At least they didn't entirely cut corners, so that's good. Look, with Disney, good animation and artistic design, that's not the exception. That's a standard. The studio should be good at these things. It's pretty much what they became famous for doing. You can't just say, meh, everything else was crap, but it looked nice. What, are we starting to grade Disney movies now on the same scale as we graded James Cameron's fucking Avatar? Oh, it looked good. Sure, the story's shit, but everything was just so an experience when we watched it. No, that's crap. Sure, Frozen looks nice, but it's nothing without a narrative to anchor you to. So now we are down to the point of it all, right? This is really the part that everyone waits for in a review. You present your case, and then you gotta do your closing argument. This is where I say I hate Frozen, that Disney ruined my childhood, that it's the worst movie Disney has ever made to date. First off, that's not true. Disney has made worse, much worse in terms of movies. Second, if I had seen Frozen in theaters, I'd probably, you know what, no doubt, I would be much angrier if I had paid to see this movie. But I lucked out, if you can believe it. I didn't watch Frozen in theaters. I didn't even have to buy the DVD. No, I got lucky. To see this movie, I got lucky enough that my niece managed to get the DVD as a gift, and I just happened to watch it. So, this movie didn't cost me a dime, it only cost me my time. So in and of itself, that's sort of a small victory that kind of barely lightens the blow. Honestly, after watching Frozen numerous times, I can say without a hint of sarcasm that above all else, when it comes to Frozen, I am, more than anything, disappointed. Disney, my old friend, you are so much better than this. Watching you over these past years is like watching a flower die. I've seen a studio that was once so wonderful, so full of life, rot from within. I've seen articles boasting, Frozen is the best Disney film since The Lion King. Yeah, maybe in terms of box office revenue. I've seen articles praise Disney's Frozen as the feminist fairy tale, despite Kristoff having to save Anna and bringing her back to Arendelle, or that Elsa wouldn't even have returned home if Hans didn't drag her lazy ass back to face the consequences of the actions she chose, and still didn't really face any consequences because they just sort of welcomed her back with open arms. People have praised Frozen for its use of familial love as opposed to romantic, despite Pixar's Brave doing the same thing 1 year earlier before Frozen, and doing it better with a connection between a mother and a daughter as opposed to two sister characters that barely interact throughout the narrative. So is Frozen a bad movie? Yes. When it comes down to it, it's that Disney, you've grown so arrogant, so fat on your own reputation. You know that with your legacy that you can grace by because you have no challenger to your throne. You have no equal to stand against your empire built on the blood of past animators. You're an all-consuming force of a studio. The illustrious Disney lineage that will win accolades and praise by default without even needing to earn it. My greatest paranoia may actually come to fruition with Frozen. Sure, Frozen is bad, but what makes me scared and angry is that Disney will now try to repeat the Frozen formula. Just make more money instead of being heartfelt and good like its past movies. Disney movies have an impact on a lot of people. In a lot of ways, these characters stay with us. And my fear is that with succession, eventually comes stagnation. And Frozen is going to be the beginning of this oncoming storm. What we need now are new artists with fresh imaginations. The House of the Mouse, frankly, is honey and lies, and it will not stand forever. I honestly believe Disney will eventually be crushed under its own failing legacy. I think eventually, to some degree, a new studio could rise up to actually compete with this company and create better stories, because every day there are new artists. They write, they draw, they sing, dance, paint, it doesn't matter. They're doing something creative, and in many ways that's what needs to really keep sparking at this point, is the spark of creativity. The wildfire of creativity needs to be born, because right now it's clear that with the way Disney is, it's a corporation and it does things formulaically. It does things by studio mandate, almost like as if they're talking to a frickin' study group in order to figure out what'll be the next big thing. And that's what something like Frozen feels like, is that it's been dissected to the point that they take whatever was really popular from certain elements from other past projects and shove them into one movie. What we need more than ever are fresh imagination. We need new creatives to come to the studio or create a new studio and show you can do more. We honestly need better animated movies more than ever, because that talent pool has really become a shallow puddle.